Today in Tehran, the elimination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, members of his family, and a number of other high-ranking officials of the regime was confirmed. Iranian state television reported that the leader of Iran, 86-year-old Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed after American-Israeli missile strikes on his residence in Tehran on Saturday morning. Israeli intelligence added that Israeli military aircraft dropped 30 bombs on the government complex in Tehran, resulting in the death of the supreme leader of Iran, several members of his family, and dozens of top Iranian military and political officials. At the moment, Iran has already appointed an acting supreme leader of Iran as well as a new head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. That's why the US and Israel continue their attacks. Iran, in turn, is desperately firing at all its neighbors. And today, Iran tried to block the Strait of Hormuz, struck Dubai, as well as the capital of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, not to mention the attacks on Jordan, Iraq, Bahrain, and Qatar. And today, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps also seized a tanker that departed from Oman, even though Oman is the only one. It condemned the US attack on Iran in the Middle East region. My name is Alexei Pichi. Let's discuss this topic together. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, like this episode, and friends, be sure to subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pichi News. The link to it is in the description of this video. There we publish breaking news as it comes in. So, the leader of Iran, 86-year-old Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, died after the American-Israeli attack. Hormuz from Tehran on Saturday morning, Sar. Well, here I will quote an Iranian host who read from a sheet the information that was provided to him. Here is the exact quote. After a whole life of tireless and relentless struggle, after the spirit of Hussein, possessing an exalted and heavenly soul like the unshakable Islam, the merciful father of kindness and determination, leader and imam of the Muslims, His Eminence Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Hosseini Khamenei, on the path of affirming the greatness of the sacred abode of the Islamic Republic. The imam has drunk the sweet and pure cup of martyrdom and has reunited with the supreme heavenly kingdom. Well, in other words, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has died. The host himself was almost choking with tears, and on the streets of Iran, pro-government rallies were held, mourning Khamenei's death. A 40-day mourning period has been declared nationwide and the flag of vengeance raised over the mosque. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is threatening a major war with the US and Israel. It was also officially confirmed in Tehran that as a result of the strikes, Khamenei's daughter, grandson, daughter-in-law, and son-in-law were also killed. But on social media, supporters of the Ayatollah's regime, even after these reports, claim that it's all lies and that Khamenei is supposedly alive. The Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, Ali Larijani, stated that a temporary governing council has been established in Iran. He also accused the US and Israel of seeking to destroy Iran, and he warned that separatist groups would face a harsh response if they attempted to take any action inside the country. The secretary stated that it was at the Jubilee with Danila, неделю общенациональных выходных. York Starter State Television is now showing footage of tens of thousands of supporters. I won't comment on the audio in the media where people are gathering to honor the memory of the deceased supreme leader, but I won't comment on that here. In the mosque, they're shouting death to America and Israel. At the same time, the New York Times, citing posts on social media, reports that people in Iran are celebrating the news of Khamenei's death in the streets. In addition to the supreme leader, yesterday's Israeli-American morning strikes killed the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Mohammad Pakpour, the chief of the General Staff of Iran's armed forces, Abdul Rahim Mousavi, the supreme leader's advisor, Ali Shamkhani, and Iran's defense minister, Aziz Nasirzadeh. And there were also a number of other officials who held less important positions. And I should note here that according to Article 111 of Iran's constitution, the country is now governed by a triumvirate consisting of the president, the head of the judiciary, and a member of the assembly of experts from among the so-called Islamic jurists. Later, it became known that the temporary acting supreme leader of Iran is 67-year-old Ali Reza Arafi. He is considered an influential Shiite religious figure and was a trusted associate of the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Arafi will hold the position of supreme leader until the elections, which must be conducted by an assembly of 88 other clerics. In addition, today a new head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps was chosen. Ahmad Vahidi was appointed to this position. Later, Israeli sources announced that Israeli military aircraft dropped 30 bombs on a government complex in Tehran, resulting in the death of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, several members of his family, and dozens of top Iranian military and political officials. According to the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, the operation was made possible thanks to information from the Central Intelligence Agency. For several months, the agency had been monitoring Khamenei's movements, and on the morning of February 28 recorded a meeting of Iran's top leadership at the location where the 30 bombs fell. Intelligence confirmed a high degree of reliability regarding the Ayatollah's location, which allowed Israel to adjust the timing of the strike. Because, as Israeli officials clarified, the intelligence service identified more than one. There were 3 meetings taking place simultaneously in the offices of the President of Iran, the Supreme Leader, and the National Security Council. Interestingly, at first the Americans insisted on striking at night, but the Israelis, after updating the intelligence, said no. Let's wait until morning, because I think there will be a chance to eliminate the Iranian leadership. This event is already being called historic. The successful elimination of Khamenei and key commanders has become a verdict for the regime, serving as the ultimate test of the inefficiency of Iran's security system. It's important to understand that the strikes were not carried out suddenly. Planes take more than an hour to reach Tehran, missiles take tens of minutes, and the radars were definitely on and working. So, in other words, everyone probably had the opportunity to take cover. But this ideological selection brought in commanders who see valor in dying to the fact that they're gone. But in reality, this is just a demonstration, sorry to say, of intellectual impotence. It was clear the United States had prepared for this war for at least 2 months. It is also reported that Israel deployed about 200 fighter jets, which struck nearly 500 targets across Iran. This is being called the largest single air operation in Israel's history. Donald Trump made the decision to launch the operation after a report about the failure of negotiations. This is what I was talking about just a day before the start of this war. Tehran refused to stop uranium enrichment and to shut down its missile program. In addition, U.S. intelligence claimed that Iran itself was preparing attacks on American targets. At the same time, a large-scale cyber attack was carried out. Government systems and agencies were hacked. The IRNA agency. And through a popular prayer app, members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps began receiving messages on their phones urging them to desert. And right now, on Sunday afternoon, Israel announced the start of a new wave of strikes on Iran after the death of the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic, because the Iranian security forces in their death throes are taking desperate measures. According to eyewitnesses, several loud explosions were heard on Sunday in Dubai and in the Qatari capital Doha. Iran is carrying out retaliatory strikes against neighboring Persian Gulf states. In addition, this morning, Iran began striking the Saudi Arabian capital Riyadh. Well, footage of explosions and empty streets in Dubai has probably already spread across all social networks. Early Sunday morning, air raid sirens sounded repeatedly across Israel, and a series of explosions occurred in Tel Aviv. But I will add here that although the death of Ali Khamenei and other Iranian leaders would deal a serious blow to the country, it would not necessarily put an end to clerical rule or the influence of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps on public life in Iran. The Iranian armed forces will soon launch retaliatory strikes again on American military bases in the Middle East and on Israel. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps announced this on Sunday. In response to the initial strikes on Saturday, Iran launched hundreds of missiles and drones at American bases, cities in Israel, and Arab countries allied with Washington. On Saturday, Tehran warned about blocking the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 1/5 of the world's oil supplies pass, which led to expectations of a sharp rise in oil prices. But today it became known that some tankers are still passing through. Representatives of the largest oil producers from the OPEC group are scheduled to meet today and may consider a greater increase in oil production than originally planned. Since a number of oil companies, trading houses, and tanker owners have suspended energy shipments through the very same Strait of Hormuz. So I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. If you found this episode interesting or useful, please support the channel with your donation or a paid membership using the links and details in the description of this video or by scanning the QR code on your screen. That's all for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.